Well, we saw some of our prisoners, what happened to them when we came upon them. They were mutilated, absolutely mutilated. They were bayoneted, and they were interrogated and hurt severely. And that you get a sense of revenge, and that's the way it was. And we all felt that way. I didn't hear one word saying, "Oh, let them be," because the way they treated our people. And when that bomb was dropped, there was no ill feelings. It was, thank goodness, this could make the day end sooner for all of us. On December 7th, I was aboard the U.S.S. Curtis, which is a huge seaplane tender, one of the biggest seaplane tenders in the fleet at that time. The sister ship was the U.S.S. Albemarle. We were in the Pacific. We had just come back from Wake Island and Midway Island, where we had taken Marines and their aircraft at that time. We arrived back in Pearl on December 5th, and our ship was open for inspection, which means it's being inspected by the higher command. On December 7th, I was in the mess hall about 7:30, having breakfast with my shipmates, and we had a huge port to our starboard side, which we could look out and get fresh air. And at that time, we heard a huge explosion. We saw the U.S.S. Utah, which was a target battleship, turn over. We couldn't believe our eyes. At that moment, the general quarters sounded, which meant all hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. We scampered out of the mess hall, went to our battle station. I scampered over many bunks to get to the top deck. When I got to my battle station, which was the aft part of the ship, I had to go down into the chief's quarters, which are on the stern of the ship, to turn the water on for the machine guns. At that time, I alerted the men in the bunk room to get out because we were under attack. And they scoffed at me, saying there's no such thing. I said, you better get out. We're under attack. What we're being attacked by, I do not know. At that time, I went to my battle station, turned the guns, which was no enemy at the time I could see. And then, of course, I could see other ships being hit in the area around us.
You had mentioned you had a battle station on board the Curtis. What was your battle station?
My battle station was the aft machine guns, 50 caliber machine guns.
All right. Once arriving at your battle station and witnessing what was unfolding, what were your reactions? What were your thoughts?
I couldn't believe my eyes. We couldn't even identify the aircraft. All we saw was a flaming red ball on the wings. But our identification practices in those days was nil. They were more concerned about Germany in the European theater. Consequently, we were at odds. We thought it was only a drill somewhere, maybe by the Air Force. But we saw the damage being inflicted. We knew we were under attack. At that time, that's a Japanese aircraft coming in at us.
Did the Curtis sustain any damage during the course of the attack?
We were not hit until the second attack. Our ship was struck by a 500-pound bomb that had come down through our deck, on the upper deck, and blew out all the hangar decks and all the planes on the The bomb came down through here, blew out the entire hangar deck and all the planes on the deck. And they sustained quite a bit of damage. We lost a lot of men, a lot of wounded. And then on the second attack, we were hit by it wasn't called a kamikaze in those days, it was a suicide plane. Of the 29 airplanes that were shot down out of 383 planes, the Curtis got one of them taken, who did considerable damage to the ship. Fortunately, there's a good picture of the plane coming into our ship, and what damage it did do is unbelievable. After the damage our ship was in the throes of having an abandoned ship. We were taking on so much water that it was felt that the ship may have to be abandoned. And we went through the procedure of abandoning ship, and then our ship fitters and various other personnel got the ship righted, and we managed to save the ship. The ship later on went back to the United States for repairs. I was put ashore, and I was assigned to a patrol squadron. And I flew out of Ford Island for the next several months until my ship came back. We only saw what we had around us. We saw people, of course, and the boats coming to our aid. We had some men that had to go over the side because when the bomb struck, it struck near the gun stations, and men had to abandon the ship on their own. They weren't ordered to do it, but they had to save their own lives. They jumped overboard. And then we had boats came alongside to help them get back aboard ship, take them to various medical facilities. And what I saw, I had really a ringside seat from where I was in the after crane. And that crane, by the way, saved my life. And from there, I'd seen the planes come over in the second wave, and then I really saw what was happening. The ship, this crane back aft here, was our salvation. There was only 2 men besides myself back there. We normally had a crew of about 17 to 20 men at the gun stations. But that particular Sunday morning, the people were ashore. Some were married, had families ashore. So we had more or less a skeleton crew.
On board the Curtis, after it was attacked, what were the tasks assigned to you and the rest of your shipmates to get that ship back into ship-shape order?
Well, because I was an aviation rate, and they had no longer use for me because most of our aircraft was damaged. As you saw in the photo, we were put ashore. All the aviation personnel was assigned to patrol squadrons because there, too, they had sustained much damage. Practically the entire seaplane fleet was wiped out by the attack. And consequently, we were sent over more like to salvage what we could salvage, get the hangars back into workable conditions, to service the aircraft. The fleet had to be serviced by new planes coming in from the mainland. So we had quite a job for the next several months. And we were without patrol aircraft during that entire time.